Heated Rivalry is the hottest show on Earth right now, and here's how dual citizenship and passports actually come into play with the show. If you haven't finished Season 1 of Heated Rivalry yet, save this video for later because there are some minor spoilers from Episode 6. With that out of the way, here we go. So in the final episode, it's revealed that Ilya Rozanov wants to become a citizen of either the United States or Canada, but he seems to think that the only way to get this done is by marrying Svetlana. But there's actually multiple paths that Rozanov could take to become a citizen of the United States or Canada. Let me just preface this by saying I'm not an expert, but I find this stuff interesting. So here's a broad overview of what he could do. So in real life, most hockey players take the O1 visa, which is like the extraordinary ability visa here in the United States. And if you're very good at athletics, if you're playing for an NHL team, you get this visa. Is usually sponsored by your employer, which is the team, and then you can stay in the US. At first it's for 3 years, and you can renew this for a year at a time indefinitely. And it is possible to take an O1 visa, turn it into a green card route, and then after living in the US for 5 years, then you could apply for citizenship. And if he was married to Svetlana, he could speed up that path to 3 years. However, that would make Shane Hollander sad, so we don't want that. Canada has a similar process, except it's not a visa, it's a work permit. So if you're playing for a Canadian club, you have to get a work permit for them. This gets you in the country to be able to play for the team, and then after that, it looks like there are pathways to transfer this work permit to a permanent residency. Once you have permanent residency, after a few years, this can be turned into citizenship. The rules in Canada regarding getting citizenship after a permanent residency are you have to have spent 3 years accumulated total in the past 5 years. But in the words of Ilya Rozanov, these paths are so fucking boring, so let's get to the juicy ones. In Canada, you can actually sponsor a family member or domestic partner or a conjugal partner, and basically you just have to prove that you are together, you're a partnership, right? Once you have them sponsored, they can join you in Canada on a permanent residence basis, and then the same rules apply. If you spend 3 of the next 5 years in Canada, then you can apply for permanent citizenship. So theoretically, Shane and Ilya could enter a domestic partnership together, or they could get married. That would be awesome too. And then they could apply as a sponsored citizen to get Ilya into the country, right? I feel like the meme behind the chalkboard with all these like paths they could take. So all in all, it looks like Rozanov could gain citizenship in either of these countries in about 5 years. But that's just playing the long game. Again, this is not immigration advice. I am not an immigration lawyer. I'm just some guy with Google who likes to read about citizenship and visas. My girlfriend and I are moving to Portugal very soon ourselves. If you find that interesting, follow along. And in the meantime, let's all wait for the next season of Heated Rivalry because that was about one of the best shows I've ever seen.